Okay, y'all, welcome to Hard Body Training. We in the Hard Body Zone, and today I got my man Rap Master. Rap Master, tell the people about yourself a little bit.
Man, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Rep Master representing Chi-Town, man, on the west side of Chicago. And I got a YouTube channel, personal training is one of my number one passions. And I started my channel last summer, you know what I mean? Pretty much it stemmed from going into the pandemic and, just trying to find a constructive way to occupy my time off work or whatnot. So I figured like, hey, why not put my passion to practice while I have the time to take advantage of it, man? And I just, one day thought about it. I said, okay, let me get the courage, to try this out. And I've been following YouTube for pretty much, I want to say about 7 to 8 years. You know what I mean? So I can also say that a big chunk of it was inspiration and motivation from others. You know what I mean? Back in 2013, I was going through a lot with my health, and one of the battles that I really struggled with was quitting smoking, you know what I mean, squares or whatnot. So it was more or less like a mental challenge, you know what I mean? I didn't have to rely on, nicotine patches or this, that, and the third, but it was more or less like a new challenge in general. So to combat that, I really had to engulf myself with more or less, okay, what can I replace this bad habit with? So quite naturally, I'm like, hey, I got to step it up, you know what I mean? And not use the excuse of working too much or being too tired or this, that, and the third, and just go balls to the wall, have the discipline and do it. So when I started kicking it up in high gear and working out, and smoking, I got introduced to CT Fletcher by my man's hanging out at the studio, you know what I mean? So he called me up one night. I went to his radio show. And so he showed me this cat, man, and I'm like, dude, who is this dude? You know what I mean? So he was like, man, just check him out. So, it was kind of like out of sarcasm or whatnot, because, I'm like the workout guru of the crew or whatnot. And I'm referring to my music buddies or whatever. So we hanging out, and he just happened to show me this video. It wasn't planned, of CT Fletcher. And from that point on, I was like, okay, I'm going to check him out one day. And it just dawned on me, once I pretty much upped my game and got a new phone and got into YouTube, I remembered this cat. So I went on YouTube, I saw CT Fletcher, man, and I was like, you know what? As crazy as I thought he was, I said, man, this dude is the real deal, and his story was very inspirational. And I was like, you know what? I can get through this. You know what I mean? I can stop this smoking shit, man, and really just, convert this into a constructive element. So watching those videos really inspired me to just push on, not just through the working out phase, but just certain matters in life, you know what I mean? Because I had to really think hard, okay, like you're not only doing this for yourself, but I got a family, that depends on me. So I had to realize like, hey, you can either let your health deteriorate or you can get your shit together and, be here and around for your family, and not use the excuse of being too tied up with time or overconsumed with work, and focus on my health. And I did that, you know what I mean? Even with sacrificing smoking, go real hard at it, and put the time and the effort in. And eventually, man, it just became second nature. I quit smoking. I was on a regimen pretty much almost 7 days a week because it was like my new high, you know what I mean? And I started to watch YouTube even more. Then I started watching, cats like Mike Rashid, NDO champ, big ups to that East Coast champ, by the way, anyhow. And just, quite naturally introduced to these guys just from the second line or whatever you call it, the videos that appeared. And I'm listening to a lot of their stories, man, and it was cool to just relate to everything because of what I was going through at the current time. You know what I mean? Trying to get my health in order, battling the acid reflux, my weight was out of control, and trying to manage stress at the same time. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, hey, I felt that it was a must, a requirement for me to make that change, man. So the more I watched YouTube, the more it was like I was able to stay on track, you know what I mean, mentally or whatnot, and stay focused. And of course, use my own discipline and drive combined with it as well. And I had new in the back of my head. I was like, you know what? One day I think I'm gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? But it just so happened, like I said, I'm a family man. I'm busy a lot. I always kept my intensity afloat. But when we went into the pandemic, it was kind of like, hey, we iced out. So it just dawned on me. Let me try this out. And my first video was a video of doing 1,200 push-ups, half reps or whatnot, just doing my thing. And from that first video, man, it was like, hey, I just went off. You know what I'm saying? I got a chance to review it, watched it for like a week straight, and it was in like Flynn. And also, I'll tell you another interesting story, branching from the music that I spin. My first music video was an accidental upload from a Facebook Live. I kid you not, hardbody. I don't know what happened, but after my first push-up video, I was looking in my picture file or something of that sort, and somehow, some way, the Facebook Live, I don't know how I did it, but it captured and it got stored in my picture file, the entire video. You know what I'm saying? The entire
Mhm.
video got stored. So I figured, okay, let me try to upload it to YouTube. And guess what, man? I did it, and somehow, some way, that live house music session was able to upload from Facebook to YouTube. You know what I mean? Even though it was pre-recorded or live from like a week ago. And from that point on, I started to get a lot of positivity from the comment sections. And then it was like, you know what? I like this, man. I got to keep it going. And from that, I was just like, hey, let me just keep doing my. So quite naturally, I appreciate a platform where you can just be yourself, So that's the reason why on my channel it's not about just working out, but just the pure elements of positivity, God, love, and family. You know what I mean? That's it. If I use a little bit of profanity, just excuse me. I just, it's just out of expressing myself, but not in the derogatory sense at all. You know what I mean? So other than that, my channel is all about pure positivity and just build it. So that's why I said, okay, I'm not only going to incorporate my working out, but just everything that DJ Bolo, aka Rep Master, is about. So I'm like, hey, let me bring my music to the light. Let me bring a little bit of my family to the light. Things that I'm passionate about, not just fitness. You know what I mean? And hey, I'm just keeping it going.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Just to say when you said about CT Fletcher motivated you,
uh,
when I discovered CT Fletcher on the internet, I thought he was an interesting character myself,
Absolutely.
and to so some of my West Coast connections right on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
He invited me to go meet CT Fletcher this June 3rd, but he said that it's more like a greet and meet, and I'm not guaranteed to shoot a video with him or anything like that.
Okay.
So I just wanted to let you know that I have the opportunity to go meet CT Fletcher on June 3rd.
That's what's up, man.
You know what I'm saying? I wish I could. I wish I could make it, but unfortunately, I can't make it right now.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So
Hey, and speaking of June, man, June is my birthday month, the 25th. Yeah. I will be
June,
40. No shame about it.
man, we 40 young now. We 40 young. When this summer, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you what these 40-year-olds could do on the basketball
Absolutely.
court.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you like this, man. You already are. You know what I'm saying? I don't know
Yeah.
anybody that's just bringing the heat like that every day on the regular. I know it is, but I'm just saying, man, I got to give you much credibility where credit is due, man. I appreciate you big time. And also I wanted to tell you, I think I got a chance to watch videos. I think it was 3 and 4, and I truly appreciate the shout out. I didn't get a chance to get in the comment section, so I said, okay, I'll just let you know. Over the mic, man. I appreciate the shout out and the acknowledgments big time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that chair, putting the ball on the chair is gonna help me out a lot when the weight goes up, like you said.
Yes, sir. And just like I said, always be mindful that the heaviest that I would attempt with that, to be honest, man, is 225. Because like I said, if you look at the video, it's a very limited amount of space in between. So technically, you probably would only be able to squeeze a max of 245
Too
in
too
between.
big, too thick place. I
Right.
plan to go. I plan to go to 185. So it's
Okay.
gonna be a 25-pound plate and 45.
Yep, that's perfect. So it'll just, like I said, just take the load off of trying to make that transition, because that'll be trying to do like an overhead on the flat floor, and that's not safe for
Mm,
your rotator cuff or your deltoid. So
yeah.
I just figured like, okay, I knew it was something. I'm like, I haven't tried that in a minute, but let me say this: it's two basic folding chairs, and you got to think, it's the vinyl folding chairs or whatever. But hey, they're made for us to sit in, so you got to think
Man,
it'll support the weight capacity that you have.
I like to improvise. So I'm gonna go on YouTube and YouTube how to make a homemade power what's it, a power rack for if I could do some squats.
Sir, yes, sir.
So like a squat rack. A squat rack is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah,
Because I need because when picking up 185, 225 from the floor to then to shoulder press and then drop it on my neck, that ain't gonna feel good. So, you
True.
know, like it's convenient to just go under the bar and lift it up with your legs.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I would
So
recommend like if you could add, like maybe some additional cushioning, like how some people might put like a towel or something to support
yeah, but
the heavier that you go or whatnot, just to
you know, you know what they call that in the gym? They call that the pee pad. You know, yeah, the pee cat pad. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, but
Yeah, you ever heard that term for that for the pad?
nah, I'm gonna be honest, I never heard that.
Yeah, that's what they call it here in New York, man. Like these if you notice, a lot of dudes don't even like wearing gloves when they do pull-ups.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
but I wear them because I moisturize the kids' faces, and they tell me, "Yo, daddy, your hands is rough,"
okay,
So
hey,
I'm not gonna be exfoliating the kids when I'm moisturizing them. You know what I'm saying? With rough hands, so you
yeah.
got to consider.
And you know what, man? That's good you mentioned that because I mean it's always a logic behind everything. You got to think because even with gloves, I train with full gloves on, and I still get calluses through the gloves. Believe it or not.
Yeah, yeah, me too, me
You know,
too. The hands is still rough, even with gloves.
and
I'm
as far as and as far as the bar is concerned, with me recommending that support is because I'm very sensitive about that area because of the chiropractic adjustments, and I know the issues that I had was it's with my neck
sorry.
down to the L5. So it's technically my when I was going to the chiropractor, man, they even put me on a restriction from doing upright rows and even pushing over my head because of the whatever I had going on in the neck area. So anytime you're dealing with nerves and things of that sort, training is training, but you want to have longevity. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to let pride, bash down my longevity.
Yeah,
Like whatever I
I,
can do to avoid injury, fuck that, man. I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm the same way. I'm not too cool to wear a bike helmet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wear my helmet, man. I ain't trying to. But you could bust your head open just from falling off the bike. You don't even have to be riding it. Just falling over,
Right. Well,
cracking.
and man, we have people to come home to. You know what I mean? So hey,
Yeah.
I
Let me
get
tell you. Let me tell you about a neck injury I had since you brought that up. So
this.
when I was 15, I was 6 feet tall already, right? So my boy's father, he's a short man. He's like 5'6" or something.
Okay.
And the pool is only 3 feet deep, maybe three and a half at the deepest. So he did a dive where he jumped up and he went in like vertically head first, and then as soon as his head and neck went in, you start to curl up for your feet hits the floor, right? So it's like diving off a board, but you just on the pool deck, and you going in. Your feet is straight up, right?
Mhm.
Straight up like a torpedo. So I did that at 6 feet, but mind you, the pool is only 3 feet.
Damn.
So when I went in, like I did it successfully, like once or twice. When I tried it the third time, I didn't start to turn. I started turning late, and then my neck slammed on the pool floor with it, and I basically knocked myself out, and I was like paralyzed. And then luckily my brother was with me, and he was like, "You all right? You all right?" I was like, "Nah, man." Like I floated to the edge of the pool, and I rested my neck on the pool floor on the deck, and then I finally got up. And when I went to the chiropractor the very next day because I had a big knot, like it was the size of a golf ball on the back of my neck.
Yeah, that
And he said to me, had it been a millimeter to the left, that I would have I would have gotten paralyzed over the years. Like it would have it would have been paralyzing the injury. And I
wow.
had and I had a bad like I always used to rub my neck like this for years, and just like maybe within the last 7, 8 years, I got rid of that kink. My neck will always bother me that I constantly will be massaging it.
Wow. That's crazy,
So,
man.
so I dodged the bullet right there.
That's crazy, but that's the ultimate blessing, though. You know what I mean? So, hey, your purpose is quite apparent. That wasn't meant for it to go down that way, obviously. So,
Yeah.
so like I said, man, it's just the importance, and especially getting older in the training world. I'm always mindful of injuries. So, like I said, man, I want to be able to train for as long as possible. So, at this point, I'll do whatever it takes, man, to avoid injury. You know what I mean? And
Me too. Me too. Like when I'm doing sets and reps,
yeah,
as soon as I start to feel strain in my lower back,
uh,
I stop. I rest and I'll finish out the reps.
absolutely.
I'm not gonna force a rep and then strain my back and then I'm injured now for 2, 3, 4 days in a row.
I'm telling you, man. Yeah, you always
Yeah.
get the quality over that quantity, big time.
All right, so I'm gonna hit you with the first question. All right, let the people know which sport did you play growing up.
Primarily basketball. Yeah, primarily basketball. Um, I didn't go to the, I didn't do it on the collegiate level. Not even high school, like grade school, but basketball was my passion. And my mother used to tell me, even I think like so far back from what I can remember, we stayed on a busy street on the west side of Chicago. And she said that, make a long story short, I would literally hold the show with the way I would handle the ball as a little guy. You know what I mean? Like I had no rim, no nothing, but I love basketball so much. Whatever I could do to possibly make the game right there, I would do it. So, you know, I had a strict upbringing. So it was kind of like, if I was out there and especially by myself, not saying that I was unattended, but it's like, hey, I couldn't go out the gate. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to bounce this ball. I'm going to bounce this ball. And eventually, man, I just started doing tricks or whatnot. I just can't remember vividly, what I was doing, but my mother would tell me that I think it had to start at like either maybe about 6 or 7 or whatnot, the things I would do with the ball and people would literally walk by, drive by and just stop and watch, and of course this is back in like the mid 80s or whatnot. So, it wasn't no technology where people were recording you and all that stuff, man. It was just like right there. But when she told me about that, man, I was like, yo, that's mad amazing. So as I started to get older, I kept on with that. You know what I mean? So at least till about 9 or 10 years old, that's what I would remember, and eventually ball handling became the starlight point of my game or whatnot because it stemmed from just my childhood, just having to just pretty much dribble the ball because like I said, I really wasn't close to any basketball rims. Every once in a while they were hooping the alley, but like I said, these were older cats, that was pretty much in the street life or whatnot. So my grandmother wasn't having it, so I couldn't go out there and play ball with them. You know what I mean? So it was like
Mm.
dribbling, just bouncing the ball. And, I couldn't remember that far at 6 or 7. My mother told me, but I did remember, of course, from like 8 years old and up to like 10, that's what I would do. Just ball handle all day. And I loved the game that much. And sometimes I would even picture a rim out there. So I would literally shoot the ball. And you know how coach will tell you, like sometimes it's a good way to practice an accurate jump shot. But if it comes straight down, that means your jump shot is on point. So I would do
Yeah.
stuff like that. I had no rim, so I would just have an imaginary rim, dribble the ball, shoot, whatever I had to do. You know, imagine somebody guarding me like Larry Bird as a kid, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, let me swing it.
So
Eventually, man, it just naturally flowed in. And hey, I just ate, slept, and did basketball. You know what I mean?
so who's your favorite basketball player while we talk about basketball?
Come on, hard
Like,
body. You already know, man. I'm a true shooter.
uh,
I,
all right, MJ. He the most hated man in New York, right?
I you know what I'm saying? Just
Most hated man. That was a dumb question right there. Yeah, I should have known.
hey,
But
but you sparked up some good memories though, man,
yeah,
because it was nothing like back in the days with John Starks, Oakley, the New York Bad Boys, going at it with the Chicago Bulls, man. I miss those days in the 90s, man.
yeah, that was the best ever, man.
That
Best
was
ever.
the best ever, man. Tell me about it.
My guy personally was Larry Johnson, grandmama.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. Good pick. Good
Yeah,
pick. Overall,
yeah.
because how tall was Larry? It was about like what, 6'7"?
So yeah, they say he's shorter, but he listed 6'7". He was like LeBron James before there was a LeBron James, an athletic power forward like that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know why he was my favorite player? Because I didn't start playing basketball till 91, 92.
Okay.
And that time, that's when he got drafted. But before I started watching NBA, I was watching a little bit of college ball. And
Mhm.
then he was at UNLV going undefeated. He was drafted number one. He called my attention. And then I started watching the Knicks. Like I finally saw a full season of the Knicks. I seen how in New York they hate Jordan. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was late to the game, but I caught up. You know, I found out Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, but yeah, and so I came right at the perfect era, man. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Right there, 91, 92 was when I discovered basketball and fell in love with it right away.
absolutely, man. I think it had been a passion of mine since day one, and especially, deep rooted with family members, being into it and always being exposed to the game, you know what I mean? And loving the fact that even when I was a shorty, with my older cousin, I played with older cats that wouldn't take it easy on you. You know what I mean? They didn't give a damn if you was a shorty. If you stepped in the arena with the big dogs, then that's just what it was. And I remember literally, man, as a kid, coming to tears because every shot was getting blocked. You know what I mean? I'm just like, young as hell, man. And I'm like, man, they just didn't care. But I could really appreciate that, man, because it molds your talent big time. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm just like, hey, that was something that was just always in my blood, I think, from day one, even being exposed to other sports. I kind of drifted off and got interested in baseball temporarily, even football for that matter. But as far as like doing it on a competitive level, no, nothing like basketball. That was just a
Football was my favorite.
mm-hmm,
As soon as when I came to America in '84,
mm-hmm,
the first elementary school I went to, that's where all the boys played football. So I
right.
picked it. I picked it up right away and loved it. I
I can
used to know. I used to know all 52 players of every team. Like I was in love with it that much. I used to wear knee pads and go play pickup football in the projects. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So then finally, like
yeah.
I used to play with the teenagers when I'm still 10 years old. They had me like the automatic hike man when I just hike it in. But when I play against kids my age, I was dominating them because I was playing with the teenagers.
Exactly. Yeah.
And and it was crazy, man. Like I remember this play. I'm so young, right? That the they was playing tackle, right? I'm in the game too. I'm playing tackle with guys 6 years older than me, and I'm 10 years old. I hiked the ball into the quarterback, and somebody from my team came and popped the quarterback. The ball's loose. I picked it up, right? So I'm running. I'm running to get the touchdown, but
Right.
I'm so slow compared to these 17 and 16-year-olds that some dude picked me up. A teammate of mine picked me up and ran with me.
Wow.
And so I was like I was playing with killers out there. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to play all the time. Like football was my love.
Yeah.
And then I went to baseball, and then finally I settled with basketball.
Oh, yeah, I can understand that, man.
Uh,
You reminded me of something when you said baseball. My grandpa, you know what I mean? I think that pretty much influenced me because grandpa was the only dude I knew, man, that would sit through a whole game of baseball and that I witnessed, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like
yeah,
if I didn't sit there with him to the entirety. It's like, okay, if grandpa turned that game on, channel 7, 9, or whatever it was back in the day, it was there. And grandpa would religiously watch a full baseball game. And it was
uh,
like, okay, eventually I started to just go in there and chill with him, man. And I started to get interested in baseball. And even though it didn't last that long, but I got to give big ups to grandpa, for at
yeah.
least giving me a taste of it. Because I mean,
I,
it's and for the most part, I play it now for the fun of it.
yeah. Yeah, I tried out on the football team when I was a little kid. It was like a Central Park league, and I
Okay.
tried out for it. I mean, I was like, it was on concrete, but it was over the winter time. So
Hey,
you got the bubble coats, right? I was
yep,
diving on the floor to catch balls, like
yep.
that's how much. So I never that team, like it ain't. The coach said that he didn't get the funds, so he was unable to proceed. So that got canceled, right? When I got to high school, I thought about joining the football team. But I'm already a hardcore basketball player, right? But football was my first love.
Mhm.
So I was like, man, I might try out for the football team, right? So I'm in the hallway. So somebody's like, yo, that's the quarterback. So I looked over to see who the quarterback was, right? This dude was 6'4" with a body like Larry Johnson, Anthony Mason, like just jacked. 280 at 6'4". I was like, no way. I ain't trying out for no football.
Right,
I
right.
was like, nah. I'm good. And then as I got older,
Mhm.
because I stopped playing pickup football, but my friends kept playing, and they will always come back with broken arms, broken wrist, busted nose, missing tooth, and they will always say, "Yo, your hard body come play." And I was like, "Nah, I'm good. Y'all just want to lay me out because I be destroying them playing basketball. I destroy them, so they want to hit me when it comes to football." I was like, "Nah." So I went many years without playing football, and then I picked it up again in my like mid to late 20s. I started playing pickup football again because all my friends was like, "You don't know how to play football." I'm like, "You crazy, man? I'm mad nice in football." So I
Mm-hmm.
finally went out, got had like 5 touchdowns in one game, went for, and then like 2 games later, I ended up pulling my hamstring because football is like all out speed. Like
Yeah.
you can't run a route half speed. So I ended up pulling my hamstring, and then that was the end of that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay. That's
Yeah.
that's crazy, man.
So there's any specific workouts that you recommend to the people?
Yeah.
No.
Here's my motto, man. Just to because if I get on that, man, I can mess around and be about an additional 15 minutes. But my whole objective is this, man, to make it more simple. When I'm working somebody out, the whole objective is to keep your body moving the entire time. You know what I mean? So, as a personal trainer, that was one thing that I was taught because you have to realize that the average working person doesn't even have an hour to spare. You know what I mean, for a session. So you have to be creative. You have to really know biomechanics very well and understand the principles of intensity. So I take all of that and I combine it. So I just figure like, hey, even with anaerobic and aerobic combined, if I can keep my client moving the entire half hour of the session, I feel that my goal is accomplished because I think and know for a fact that we've probably got more work done in that condensed amount of time than the average cat that's been in there for an hour and a half with the typical workout. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I recommend, high intensity, quality reps, less rest in between sets, and just keeping the heart rate up to a certain point because you want to keep that caloric burn at its highest point. And the only way that you could do that is that you have to do a combination of both anaerobic and aerobic training. You know what I mean? To keep the
Yeah.
metabolism burning at all times, especially overnight.
I mean, that's what separates the professional athlete from the average Joe. That
Yes, sir.
they heart rate gets so high and they maintain it there. Where
Mm-hmm.
the average Joe, where his heart rate goes up, he needs to take he needs to take 5-10 minute break.
Mm-hmm.
So that I noticed from training when I get to the next level is when I get my heart rate up and I keep it there for 20 minutes. So then when I exercise again, the peak for me to get my heart rate to the max is going to take longer, and then I could last longer also.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's where the aerobic part of the training comes into play.
Absolutely.
Anaerobic part of the training comes to play.
Absolutely. And I also want to include, just not to, I actually give much respect and credibility to all styles of training, by any means. So I don't want to make it as if, my style of training is superior to anybody else's style of training because, you have to realize that there are different fitness goals out here as well. So, when you speak and talk about that question, I'm referring to, general population because, when it comes to athletic training, then of course, the dynamics change and whatnot when it comes the training programs, in that caliber or whatnot, or in that category, I should say, you know. So I respect bodybuilding. I respect CrossFitters. I respect pure calisthenic athletes. And I respect, definitely hybrids like myself. I like them both, calisthenics and weights, because it's all about keeping the shock on the body. And at one point in my life, I stopped lifting weights for about 7.5 years and pretty much, stuck with pure calisthenics. But what happens is that, your body eventually gets to a plateau. So
Yeah.
once I, of course, changed the diet and incorporated weightlifting back into my program years later, then that's when I really started to see more results. You know what I mean? Because now my body was able to be in a confused state, when I trained now. I'm not
Yeah.
saying I ran out of fuel with shocking the body with calisthenics, but at a certain point, it's kind of like, being efficient movement in that style of training. I know I had to do something just a tad bit different. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
the body will always adjust. Like when I got my new toys, and the first time I picked up that 45-pound bar, it was heavy as hell. Now it's like it don't weigh nothing. I pick it up with one hand, to put it away. But
Absolutely.
that
Yes,
but
sir.
that first day, I'm like, God damn, like this thing is heavy. So
Yes,
it's like calisthenics. Like if you do 500 push-ups every day, every other day, it gets easy. Now you're doing 1,000. Now
hmm
you're doing two. So you gotta add some sort of resistance to it, and
yeah.
that's why the weights. I call the weights the cheat code. That's what I call them. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
I'm a,
That's why, cause I love weights, man. I'm gonna get right with the weights.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And like I say, dealing with back issues, it's definitely made me, respect the world of quality lifting. You know what I mean? Because of course, when you're younger, you kind of, well, not everybody, of course. I'm just referring to myself, but man, it's like you're young, you kind of get stuck in that pride lifting. You know what I mean? Like,
Uh, you
bench.
see what you see what the next guy's doing. You want to do it. You're
Yeah,
competitive.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, but when in real life, we just competing with ourselves. We always want to be the better version of ourselves.
That's it. That's it. I,
That's why I decided to only go up. Like I was at first I said I'm gonna lift my body weight within 4 weeks.
mhm,
That's crazy because I haven't lifted weights in like 3 4 years.
mhm.
So I said nah, I'm gonna be smart, and I'm only gonna go up 5 pounds per session, 10 pounds per week.
Okay.
Instead of jumping in 4 weeks doing 185 like that, I'm gonna get hurt like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So that's why I turned it. That's why you see me. I started out with 95 pounds, and people would say, "Oh my God, like you hard body and you only yeah." Because it's basically I'm back to the beginner stage. You know what I'm saying? Even
Right,
though I'm not a beginner, I'm starting out as a beginner.
right,
If I will prevent injury.
right, right. And that's
Uh,
word right there, preventing injury.
There you go.
Prevent.
So
It's a sad feeling when you restrict it to train. You know what I mean? Because now, I know for me, man, when I'm not able to train, sometimes it goes beyond the physical. We talking about this right here. It's like no, it's not good for that. So the way I look at it, like I said, I try to stay in the type of shape that's going to allow me to train by any means necessary for as long as possible. You know what I mean? So hey, because I got to have it, and that's just to keep a mental balance.
mhm. When I messed up my knee in 2018.
Mhm.
And then I was already working out, of course, because I was injured with my back, so I had to get right. So I injured my knee, and
Okay.
my girl was like, "Oh, when you gonna give up playing basketball?" Because when I met her at the age of 29, and I was playing a lot, like hours and hours a week. And
Mhm.
and I said to her, man, I told her when I mess up my other knees, when I'm gonna stop playing, like I'm gonna give when my good knee gets messed up. That's how much I love basketball. You know what I'm saying? It is because I'm a young man. I'm not gonna stop playing.
Right.
I lost 4 or 5 good prime years with the back injury. So to me, it's like I'm making up for it now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your passion is the passion. So
Yeah.
deep rooted, it'll never go nowhere.
So if you don't mind, tell
Mhm.
us about some like your school experience. If you ever had to deal with bullies and your neighborhood growing up,
No,
talk to us about that.
yeah, you know what? I jogged my memory, but I'm gonna be honest. Not more or less from a physical altercation standpoint per se.
Yeah.
But I thought about it, and I'm like, it's different forms of bullying as well. You know what I mean? So I guess if you think about it, I can honestly tell you that maybe I experienced just a different form of it. Because coming up as a kid, I wasn't one of the type of kids that had all the trendy shit and everything like that. Even though I was technically the only child in a house full of adults when we stayed on the west side of Chicago. You know what I mean? But um, it was like, you would think that I was spoiled, but I wasn't. I had a grandfather that instilled a good work ethic in me from day one. He would give you what you want, but it would be in any order. Either A, you would get what you wanted and you had to work for it, or the other way around. You had to do some work and then you got what you wanted. You know what I mean? So first and foremost, I had that instilled in me as a young man from day one, like, hey, earn your keep. And I truly appreciate that. And I guess it's the fact that, I was just pretty much given my necessities or whatnot. I didn't have the opportunity to have like the fresh pair of Jordans, the name
Mm.
brand shoes and all this, that, and the third or whatnot. I just pretty much had to get what was pretty much, bought for me or whatever. So, of course, like I said, not having the trendy stuff, and of course, kids are going to be kids. But when you come up in a school environment, and especially when I transferred to public school, that it really got worse with that. But
Yeah.
I mean, because it's like, Catholic school is uniform, but when I got to public school, I think that was pretty much my first form of it. And me not being accustomed to that, it took me a while to kind of like really stand up for myself, because it was more or less like I felt embarrassed, you know what I mean? Because it's like you gotta, it's just you know what I'm saying? And it's like you got a circle of cats that's joining you, roasting you or whatever, or what.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, what? Like you even want to stick up, but if you do that, okay, what's the risk factors? Am I gonna get my ass whooped? You know what I mean? If I just say something back or whatever. So a lot of that shit, I would just let it roll off. But I saw that, they would take advantage of that, when I wouldn't stick up for myself, because I was more or less like in the shell about it. Because in a way, I'm like, damn, man, maybe it is true. Because I'm thinking to myself, like, hey, these, I just had typical clothes, they were fitted, they weren't baggy, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it was nice stuff, but it just wasn't the trend, you know what I'm saying? So for me to get off into an environment where it was like everybody else was quote unquote trendy and all this shit, man, it was like, okay, I got picked on a little bit for that, or a lot bit. And
Yeah. Like we had the regular Lee jeans, and they had the Levi's and the Pele Pele, and they thought it was fly.
yeah, I
You know
got
what I'm saying?
it.
That's in the '80s the Lees was popping. You know what I'm saying?
I, so it,
Yeah.
but you know what, man? So to like I said, to flip it, well, pretty much the same principle applies. When it comes to bullies, the way I look at it, until I was able to break that code of silence and really stand up for myself, that's when it stopped. You know what I mean? So when they would start roasting me in the hallway or whatever, man, one day I just got tired of it. You know what I'm saying? So now I got all this stuff built up in me. So not only am I tired, but now it's like I'm a ticking time bomb. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like when it happened, I think one day I just said, you know what? Um, I don't know. I was just like, man, I said, fuck it. I probably even literally said that, because I was just that angry, you know what I mean? Like almost in fight mode or whatnot. So that particular individual that was, roasting or whatever, man, I just started firing back, even though I didn't have a lot of weaponry to work with or whatnot. I just said, you know what? I might not have the flyest stuff or whatever, or a trendy name brand or whatever the hell you want to call it. But um, I started getting them back. I started roasting them back. You know what I mean? So I started hitting them where it really hurt. You know what I mean? And like I said, I had to use what I used. But when I finally stood up for myself and I roasted them back in a different form, like I said, kids are kids, even though it probably wasn't right on my end. So I figured, hey, you talk about my clothes, my apparel, I'm gonna talk about your psyche, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Cats that do that, that's usually the underlying problem. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you talk
Mm-hmm.
about how I look or whatnot, but dude, you dumb as a fucking doorknob. You know what I mean? That's the way I was thinking back then. You know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
and I literally, I touched on that, and like I said, that doesn't justify me, coming at a kid. Like I said, we were all kids, but I just felt like it was the only thing I had to work with. So I really started to roast them in that category, and I saw the reaction I got from the people around. And it was like they everybody started busting up like, ooh, you know how they instigate or whatnot.
Yeah.
Yo, he got you.
You,
And
you,
as interesting as it sounds, hard body, believe it or not, it was kind of like my initiation, because I kid you not, guess what? It was like I became accepted into the crew after that. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
When I started, because it was like I started speaking up for myself, and it was kind of like, I don't know if they was testing me or whatever, but these became
mm,
my boys. You know what I'm saying? Like eventually down the line, because it was like, okay, he good people's whatever, So it was like, okay, I got accepted eventually, but until I opened my mouth, you know what I mean, and struck back, I don't know. I guess it would have continued, but pretty much like any other situation, if you stand up to a bully, then 9 times out of 10 they'll back down. And then my saying about a bully is that a bully will only bully somebody that they know they can bully, if that makes sense.
yeah.
A bully will
Okay.
bully somebody that they only know that they can bully.
Yeah. So look, my only experience with a bully was like, I guess, in had to be like second grade or something. But
Oh,
I was always the second the third tallest kid. And like in every classroom I was in, I was always the second or third biggest kid in the classroom.
Okay. Okay.
So the bullies, the biggest kid, he bullied all the little kids, right? He got them, he made them cry, so they was crying and everything. Then he got to the second biggest kid, which was like same size as he was, both big guys with weight and taller than me. So he made him cry, and that dude flipped out, started flipping chairs. This all in the second grade because he
Oh,
was like, so.
wow.
So finally, he got to me. He got to the week when it was my turn to get bullied. So he's like, he's gonna kick my ass at 3 o'clock, and he's doing this to me, right? So I'm like, all right, I'm doing it back to him, like, right? All the other little boys was like, yo, you gonna fight him? You gonna fight him? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna
What?
fight him.
What?
You know what I'm saying? So it was like, it's finally 3 o'clock. In my mind, I'm like, yo, I'm about to run home. I'm about to run home. Like I'm scared. So
Yeah,
I
I
I
get.
turned the I turned around,
Yeah,
and because he was right behind me, I turned around. I said, what? And then he shook my hand because I stood up to him.
that's what's up. That's what's
You know
up.
what I'm saying? That's all it was. I'm like,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
then later on, like in the fourth grade, me and him eventually did have a fight. But he definitely ain't never tried to pick on me ever after that.
Right, right.
Cause he,
It's a value lesson too, man, because I look at it in such a profound manner. Experiences like that, I can learn to appreciate them because, like I said, I have a strong history of everything I've done is, evolved around teaching. So I worked in an alternative high school, a hands-on alternative high school for 6.5 years, man. And childhood experiences like that, I can appreciate because now, being a teacher, it gives me more of an understanding when you deal with a kid that's in that situation, a kid that may get bullied or whatnot, and actually even give you more of an understanding of the person that's the bully. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because a person that's a bully, that's a defect. It's not natural. You know what I mean? So you have to have an understanding um, for
It's
them.
a, it's a, it's a defense mechanism. I realized that people that lash out is really there is something internally that's eating them up, so they lash out. I
Yeah,
figured that out.
the energy is not being projected the right way at all.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's like where my motto when always say like, yo, let's convert negative energy into positive output. That's pretty much what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I've learned, from childhood experiences and things like that. And being a teacher is kind of like, I can relate to so many categories of everything when it comes to dealing with kids, and especially with the kids that we dealt with, you know what I mean, working in an alternative school environment. So it's kind of like, okay, this is not nothing that I learned out of a psychology book or this, that, and the third. All of it came from a walk of life, you know what I mean? So yes, I know how it feels to be that kid to be picked on. I know, and have an understanding of the kid that's a bully or whatnot, and even, why they may be doing that. So it's kind of like I take all of that and I'm like, hey, I can appreciate it because it just contributes to your character and your build up. And the thing is, it's all about how you conquer every situation that you've been through. So that's the main thing. You conquer and you're able to embrace other individuals with that knowledge and that stems from. So, you know, it's no big deal. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
I mean, I noticed that females are like that.
Mhm.
When they call you names and all that, it's because internally something is eating them up.
Yeah, yeah,
But
security or anything.
let,
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's yeah. It doesn't matter that
let
whether it's a child or an adult. Trust me.
yeah. So that's a whole nother topic. So we're gonna leave that one alone. So tell us, do you have any children?
Yes.
Talk to.
Yes, sir. I have a 13-year-old girl and I have my little guy that's 7 years old.
Bless.
Love,
Bless.
man. Beautiful wife, my queen. And I am crazy about my family, man. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. So when I asked you earlier, so why you basically started a YouTube channel, and then you told us more or less the
Mhm.
reason why. So do you have anything that coming up that we should be looking out for? Any secrets, anything you're working on over there on your end?
I'm glad you asked me that because this will kind of like break down the whole preliminary part of it. But I got this crazy psycho bicep routine. I've never tried it. I structured it in my head, you know what I mean? And it's going to be what I call the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 drop. We're going to curl with, well, the weight that I'm going to use is going to be 15 pounds. We're going to curl for a total of 5 minutes straight. Okay. Now, quite naturally, you know, of course, you're going to pre-exhaust in the midst of it, but I'm going to try to come up with like maybe some rules for different fitness levels, because obviously it's going to be different calibers of individuals that, you know, if they want to try the regimen, it's going to be designed for everybody. But like I said, it's just going to be different rules, you know, for beginners, the mid people and advanced, you know, like ourselves or whatnot. But we curl for 5 minutes, and maybe for advanced, the whole objective is to possibly keep the weight in hand the entire time, but maybe a 10-second break every time you stop, and you just keep curling for 5 minutes. Now, if you're in the middle, I may permit you to put the dumbbells down, but the same principle, 10-second break. Because whichever way it goes, if you curl and you hold the dumbbell, it's still more tension versus you putting it completely down. So if you're like in the middle, you know, you're permitted to put it down for that amount of time, 10 seconds, but you continue pick it back up and get as many as reps as possible in 5 minutes. If you're a beginner, of course, you know, just curl to exhaustion, take a 30-second break, partake in the 5 minutes, do what you can. But here's the deal. What's going to make it crazy, when we're curling after 5 minutes, the only recovery is the isometric front leaning rest position hold with those dumbbells. We're going to hold that for 1 minute. Hold it for 1 minute, come out of the front leaning rest. No push-ups performed, you know, just isometric strength and just really getting the blood flow and tension in that forearm. Hold it for 1 minute, and we curl for 4 minutes. You get me? After 4 minutes,
Whoa.
yeah, we curl for 4 minutes. Get back in the lean and rest for a minute, and then we just drop down in pyramid 3, 2, 1. It's gonna be insane, man. So, like I said, I'm gonna actually beat myself up with it for the first time. I've never tried the regimen, but I said, you know what? I'm gonna have the courage. I think I'm just gonna actually.
So you
I'm not
so
gonna.
you basically gripping the dumbbell for 15 minutes. Five, four,
The,
right? You gripping it for 15 minutes.
yes,
You can't open your hands and let it go at any point.
yeah, for advanced people, you know, for advanced. That's only for, you know, the caliber of people like ourselves.
I do something like that, but it's not straight curls. It's basically you curl and you press and you go for as long as you can.
I
This
think
is
I
called
think
the you see me
I did
do that, right?
on a video with Sean Gumby, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do when he told me to stop at 50.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, yeah. I saw
Yeah.
Pete right.
So you know I remember when I first did that, it took me like 8 minutes to do it. Now I could do it in 6 minutes. Like,
That's,
you know, but it still takes time to get to 100.
yeah,
And I've gone past 100. But what you saying is like crazy. Like that
man.
that's
Listen,
like going to 200 or something.
like I said, you know, I'm not trying to just, you know, sound insane with it, but you know, it's of course, you know, I'm
Because even that 15 pound is gonna get heavy, like you said, it's gonna get
because I can share this with you. A non-recorded workout. It took me a total of 15 minutes to do 500 reps with the 15 pound dumbbells without putting them down. So I'm thinking. So if you think about it, you know, 5 minutes of curling, I would assume if I'm able to at least get a goal number of close to 200 reps, to me that's good, because like I said, it took. I tried it for the first time, not that regimen, but I said I just want to do 500 reps. But it just so happened that you sometimes when I work out on my own, I like to get on YouTube, and you know, big ups to Jay Dilla, man, from Detroit or whatnot. You know, one of my favorite hip hop producers. But they have like what they call homework versions, and they'll play like this straight instrumental of his for like 15 minutes straight. And I love it because it don't change. It just keep going. And I love to work out like that because it puts me in the zone. So
yeah.
I was just doing 500 reps. And I kid you not, it was perfect timing. When I got the 500, the 15-minute track was done. So it took me 15 minutes to do 500 straight curls without putting the dumbbells down at all. You know, with those 15-pound dumbbells.
When
So
I'm working out and I'm listening to music, I'll go for the length of the music, like you said. Like I'm gonna stop doing this when the music stops.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, so I do the same thing. That's some I do the same thing.
It just, but like I said, it fell into place like that. I didn't plan it.
Yeah,
Happened. I was going to town. So now that I think maybe it wasn't the whole 15 minutes because I started, of course, you got to put the track on. And so I want to say it probably took about maybe 13 and a half, 14 solid. Now that I think
yeah.
about it. But yeah, man. So I want to really try this regimen, but it's just going to be, like I said, just one of those things where I want to display how we can just create intensity out of lightweight. You know what I mean? To avoid injuries, and if you're working with injuries, like myself, um,
Mm,
everything's going pretty good. I'm conditioning, doing tons of push-ups, even off the camera or whatnot, for my spine stability, and it's getting better. But as I progress, my whole objective is to avoid injuries by any cost. So of course, if my aesthetics is what I'm focused on, I'm gonna come up with regimens that I can do with the lightest weight possible in some cases, until I'm able to get comfortable, with
mm.
the of heavy weight. So this is why I come up with regimens like this. You know what I mean? Like, okay, let me take this lightweight and just kill myself, or come up with a regimen where it's just like, man, I don't even want to look at them no more when I'm done.
Well, I'm gonna tell you one little secret I got that nobody knows about it, because I've been waiting forever. But the guy who's doing this for me, I'm gonna interview him on the podcast. So you guys are gonna meet him soon.
Okay.
But basically, he's uh he's an action figure creator, and he's making me a custom action hard body figure.
That's what's up. That's what's
So
up.
I'm gonna unveil it soon. When I get it, I'm gonna unbox it, and you guys are gonna be like, "Oh, you know what I'm saying? Got my own action figure."
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, man. I'm buying two of them because one is for me to keep in the box, and then the other one is for my son and my daughter to play with.
Oh,
Because
good.
you know they're gonna destroy it, so it's whatever. But I was like, he's gonna beat up all your toys. I already telling them like, yo, because I got pictures, but
Yeah.
I haven't shown any of them because I'm waiting. I wanna do the video with him first, and then I'll unveil it to you guys.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's something I got cooking up. And another thing I got cooking up is I'm gonna fight somebody in June, on the first week of June, on the channel. I'm a box. I'm having a boxing match.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
you say boxing match. Is this going to be like something scheduled in the gym, or like, like what, on what level?
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it outdoors, and we're gonna wear gloves. I don't. He's the boxer. You know what I'm saying? So it's whatever gear he brings. That's what I'm gonna wear.
Mhm.
And only thing I'll probably give me a mouthpiece, but I'm not buying the headgear because we already agreed that we're not gonna be blasting each other. We just gonna it's gonna be amateur style.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be 3 rounds, 3 minutes per round, and we're gonna do it for points. So it's just we just gonna be tapping each other. We could hit each other hard in the body, but no headshots. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up. I can
And
respect.
then we're gonna let the viewers decide who the winner is. And I'm trying to get Sean Gumby to record it because he got the bigger platform.
Okay.
For it could be on a live feed and the people could donate. You know what I'm saying? We make it a pay-per-view match.
Yes. Sir. Hey, you definitely got Tri City support from this end, bro, for real, and that's true.
Mm.
I'm gonna be looking forward to that big time. You know what I
So
mean?
it's going to be in the first week of June. You know what I'm saying? I know that I announced it on some of the other podcasts, but people don't watch the whole video, so they probably missed it. But I'm letting everybody know the fight is coming. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, that's what's
After, yeah,
it seemed like, man. Hey, that, like I said, it's my birthday month, man, and you blessing me with tools in advance. I love it.
yeah. So you already know, brother. We've been running for 53 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna let you go, and thank you for coming on the show.
And I'm honored, man, to have to be out on the show, man. I truly appreciate it. You know what I mean? No
All
doubt.
right, all right, brother. Have a good night. All right.
Yes, sir. Have a blessed one. All right.